main event.
Let's get ready to rumble!
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
Yes, welcome back. This is Sports and Sorts, episode 203, and it is live on a Friday morning around 10-ish. We got some great stuff to talk about today. We're going to be talking about our NFL Week 2 predictions. We got 3 games, and one of which is our game of the week. We're also going to be talking about Thursday Night Football recap. We'll do a brief recap on that. Also, a little Antonio Brown in real trouble now news, and I am sure there will be much more to talk about, but you can also post topics live during the show. You just post them in the comment section and we will put them up on the screen. And if you want to be notified when we go live, because it's usually 10-ish, you want to be notified, hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you will be notified whenever we go live. And if you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. We really appreciate that as well. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ShaneandTheBryman, on Twitter at ShaneandBryman. And of course, my name is Shane.
And I am No, I'm sorry. I'm the Brian Man. Sorry. Can't miss that thing. Look at that. You see that? You didn't say anything to me when we first said. I was like, wow, he's not saying anything.
I did it. Everybody gets them, so
yeah, but I mean, level like 42. Can't this thing stop? For God's sakes. Like, can't we be done with that phase of our life? The good news is it was popped this morning and now it is scabbing. So we are into the healing phase, which is good. But it's gross. It's like Rudolph. I'm just glad it's not on the tip, because that's really, when you get the Rudolph nose, that's a killer.
Good times. Always fun. Always good talking with you in the morning. Like I said, once again, you want to comment, put it in the comments. We will put it on the screen. We're going to be talking Antonio Brown, and we're going to be talking Thursday Night Football. All right, let's get into the show. Let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bry Man.
By the way, happy Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And Friday the 13th during what I believe is a full moon phase out here in the Northeast. So pretty cool.
I wish I had the gongs for Undertaker. That'd be perfect right now. But I haven't used them in such a long time. I don't know where they are. I don't think I have them anymore.
Hopefully the Undertaker makes another appearance next month during our Halloween show. We'll see. You never know.
That'd be sweet. That'd be really sweet.
This is annual.
I don't watch, but that would be sweet. I could see how it'd be sweet.
To Sports and Sorts. When he shows up.
The Blundertaker. The Blundertaker's the best. I'm going to say it. He's probably better than the Undertaker.
Maybe.
I think so. I think
doesn't have a lot of Twitter followers though.
No. He doesn't have to.
He doesn't tweet that much.
He doesn't have to. All right. Just as long as he entertains me. That's what he's here for. All right. So let's get into it. We're going to start off right out the gate. But it's also not just that. It's more of a news story, because Antonio Brown has, he's caused so much. The guy is before this story broke, you would consider him a lunatic. Like, he obviously has mental issues some way or another. Some people call him a genius, the way that he orchestrated stuff out of, Raider Nation, and how he got out of Steelers. we'll never quite understand why he would want to leave Pittsburgh so bad. Big Ben is a Hall of Fame quarterback, multiple Super Bowls. He's a good deep thrower. I don't understand why he would want to leave there. They're constantly in the playoff run, conversation for the Super Bowl. I don't understand. And then he went to the Raiders, which the Raiders, obviously we know John Gruden is a very good guy at being able to keep those receivers happy and also manage them. And he loved Keyshawn Johnson. Keyshawn Johnson they're different beasts because Keyshawn Johnson was like, look at me, I'm here, look at me. And that's all he cared about was like, but he also was a team player and he also worked his butt off.
Yeah.
His ultimate goal was to win a championship.
Totally.
Whereas Antonio, you have no idea what he's thinking. He could tell you something and be completely sincere, like apologizing for all the stuff he did when, to the Raiders and to the upper management and how he did this heartfelt apology. And then the next day say, I want to be released. Like he is just so incredibly all over the map that you have no idea what he's going to do. And now he's in trouble for 2 different occasions of rape. And that is, at this point in time, I mean, if I was the NFL, I don't know what team you could be that would be like, yeah, we're going to continue. Granted, some of these accusations can be just that. They're accusations because people are famous and some people, there's bad people on both ends. There's the people that try and scam people out of money, and there's other people that are actually bad people who commit the crimes that start this whole thing. But yeah, and we don't know where this is going to land. But as of right now, if this goes the way that it's going, I can't say he's done. I mean, he did all this crazy stuff, and then on top of this, now you're bringing in some serious accusations. Like I don't care. You want to cause a bunch of noise on the sidelines in Pittsburgh and get traded or moved away from there, and then you go to Oakland and you're there and you cause a bunch of issues to try to get yourself out of there. You find social media experts to try and get yourself out of Oakland. That's all childish behavior that you can kind of be like, he's an idiot, but whatever. He's a talented idiot. But then you have, on the other hand, this, which is so much worse and where you can't really forgive it if it's true.
He's, listen, we've moved in, I think you made a good point. I think we've transitioned here from the realm of silly behavior, sideline behavior. Although what he did to orchestrate his way out of Oakland was still ridiculous. So I don't want to understate what that was and what he did. But we have now moved into the realm of rape allegation and multiple counts, as you pointed out. This is now officially next level for him and for the NFL. But here's the problem: the NFL is not going to do anything to him. I don't think. Because I think the NFL, I feel like we're starting to see evidence of this. The NFL, unless you have a hefty burden of proof, a preponderance of evidence, so to speak, specifically video evidence, I don't think the NFL does anything here. I don't think they're going to fine him. I don't think they're going to penalize him. I don't think they're going to step in any way, shape, or form. And when they do that, the Patriots, who have zero conscience whatsoever, that is a soulless organization. Yeah. They will absolutely not do anything to him. If the NFL doesn't do anything, they're not doing anything. And it's because this will be handled very similarly to the way I believe that the Tyreek Hill situation was handled. Although in that case, I think he actually had more evidence that something happened. And neither the NFL nor the Chiefs did anything to Tyreek Hill. And then on top of it, the Chiefs gave him a contract extension. They actually technically rewarded his heinous behavior. Pardon me if I don't have any faith in the NFL to do the right thing here, except look, I'm not going to be one of those, and I'm going to air quote this, one of those quote unquote, and I'm quoting Deadspin here. I'm not going to be one of those quote unquote dipshit reporters who thinks that the timing of this, this allegation coming out when it did, is a little bit fishy and kind of skeptical and maybe even a little on the seedy side. But let's be honest, the timing of this is definitely, when you consider this happens just before, it happens right after this ridiculous crap where he orchestrates his way off of the Raiders and onto the Patriots, and then right before he would play his first game as a Patriot against the Dolphins this Sunday in Miami. And so you do almost have to kind of think like, wow, the timing of that is really the fact that the women brought these charges to bear the woman brought the charges to bear at this time is a little bit on the head scratching side, but so what? You can't dismiss it. It's just, and the reason why I said dipshit reporter was because Deadspin had an article that basically accused, and I know exactly who they were going after because it was a Miami Dolphins reporter, and his name is Omar Kelly. He's actually a guy that I follow very religiously.
Yeah.
And he's a Sun Sentinel writer, a Dolphins beat writer, and they referred to him as a dipshit reporter because he basically said that he thought the whole thing was BS because the timing of when the woman brought the charges, having, it just looks, he just thought it was crap. Yeah. He's like, well, why weren't the charges brought at the time? And then somebody had to explain to him, this isn't as cut and dry and easy as you think.
Right.
If you're a woman who's been sexually assaulted, it doesn't necessarily just happen right away. There are, there's a lot of
there's
emotional
a grieving process they have to go through and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And then of course you have to remember there's the whole thing of, I'm scared to do this. This guy's a superstar NFL player. No one's going to believe me.
He's got a lot of money. I don't,
Yeah. Now what's funny is I think if you look at what she's asking for, it's like she's actually only asking for like $75,000. She's not asking for like millions and millions of dollars, which I thought was kind of interesting. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that I know the guy is guilty or I know he's innocent. I have no idea. His track record of stupidity on the field doesn't necessarily make him a rapist. That said, do I think it's possible that he did this? I think it's possible that any NFL player or any athlete did anything.
And I think it's easier to think that Antonio Brown would do something crazy like that because of all of his antics throughout his whole career. Like he's a head case. He's crazy. And if you add any kind of drugs or alcohol into that situation, that's going to make it even amplified.
Look, again, if you look, like I said, his track record doesn't necessarily dictate that kind of activity, but yeah, he is kind of a lunatic, and this, let's be honest.
There'd be certain guys that you'd kind of be like, well, I'm shocked about that. Like
completely.
If you heard something like that happen about Drew Brees, you'd be like, what?
All right, I'll give you the perfect example.
Yeah,
Peyton Manning. What he did in college to that doctor who was apparently never recovered from that.
Right. And there's certain personalities that you kind of would be more shocked that it would happen about though. Like, there's different personalities. Like Russell Wilson, I would never expect any of like that to come out because it's just of the way that he behaves. Like he's not very outspoken. He's kind of quiet. He's very just by the book, like a Jeter kind of way. Yep. And Drew Brees is very similar. Like he's just kind of goes through the motions he doesn't come out and make a lot of noise. Like, you have a lot of these quarterbacks that are like that. Like, but then there's other quarterbacks and there's other players in general that you're kind of like, I could probably see that happening. Like I could see, it's not unfathomable to me.
No.
I barely said that word right, but,
close.
Yeah. But
unfathomable.
There you go. I'm just stumbling all over sorts of slurring words. All right, so that's pretty much our kind of 2 cents on this topic. I don't really want to get into too much of it because he's such a hard guy to predict and figure out. Like I just want somebody else to kind of take care of this, figure it out, and then when all the smoke clears, then we can actually have a real discussion about it when, in fact, it's either proven guilty or not guilty.
The only thing I want to add on is addition, because the Patriots have claimed that they had no knowledge of this at the time that they signed him. Sorry if I don't believe that.
Yeah, it's tough to say.
I'm sorry, but if
And
you're
did you see Bill Belichick's press conference after?
Yeah. Oh, I saw it. Yeah.
He was him to his typical self.
You know what's funny? Somebody brought this up, and I don't know that we've ever really talked about it. I think it's always just sort of been an understood thing when it comes to
I did like how the reporters kind of went after him, though.
They
were like, we just want to know what
once.
you're thinking here. Come on, tell us.
For once, the Boston bubble media actually did their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
For once, they put that guy on a little bit of a hot seat. But, Belichick,
job.
but Belichick, being the pro that he is, just shut it right down. Which brings me to the question and the point that I have. If Bill Belichick, not Bill Belichick, if any other coach tried the Bill Belichick approach to handling the media, would he be employed in the NFL? Is it just because Bill Belichick is protected by 6 rings? And, also he has been protected by this Boston media bubble. So let's not pretend like, that the media hasn't had some hand there in protecting their athletes and their stars and their coaches, because they have. So, yeah, okay, a nice little pat on the back for the Boston media for actually having the stones to ask him a question and actually, push him on it a little bit, even though he still didn't give me an answer. Yeah. But let's be honest, does any other coach get away with that?
In the NBA, Pop does.
Well, Greg Popovich, but you know what,
that
though?
level,
I knew you were going to bring up Pop, but
you need to get to that level. You need to get to that level.
There is also a very, very huge difference between what Pop does and what Belichick does. It's not even close. So much of what Pop does is pure comedy. It's tongue-in-cheek, because he will grant you an interview and he will answer your questions. Belichick is just a surly prick. And he that's his approach. Because he just thinks that, I'll be the quiet, grumpy, intimidating guy, and that's how I'll win championships.
Yeah.
And you know what? Listen, it works for him. They've won. Mm-hmm. But does any other coach get away with that without the rings and without that media?
No.
No way. No chance.
All right, let's move on. Let's get on to Thursday Night Football recap. Do this again. We had Thursday Night Football. Tampa Bay versus the Carolina Panthers. The battle of the inconsistent quarterbacks and the kickers. There was also a battle of the kickers. The one thing that kind of I've learned from this right here, and I'll do it again. What I've learned from this is that I really think that, first of all, the Panthers' offensive line, they're never going to give anything for Cam Newton to really be successful and protected in that. And he gets hit, and he gets hit hard, and he gets hit hard a lot. And the referees let him get hit from time to time, let him get hit a little too hard, let him get hit a little too late, and because he's such a big giant man, and that happens. And I think I would not be shocked if he decided to hang it all up after this year. He takes a beating. He takes a beating every single year. I think he's probably an injury, maybe or two, or maybe if just getting beat up throughout this year, particularly if his team keeps performing the way that they are. I mean, he's not a good quarterback. He's not that good of a quarterback. He completes 55 to 58% of his passes. He misses a ton of throws, probably because he's so used to getting hit all the time. And his running back, who is tremendous, isn't big enough to really help him out in the passing game, because he's a tiny dude. He's quick. He's elusive. He's got great hands. He's great that way, but he's not going to help him protect-wise, getting protected. And Greg Olsen is he is a shell of himself. He's older. He's slower. He's not going to get much stronger.
He looked pretty good last night, actually.
He did. He had a good night last night, but still, he's not the Greg Olsen that we were, a few years back where he was the number one drafted tight end and all that kind of stuff anymore. Now he goes undrafted in a lot of leagues. It's a really rough situation for him, and his defense isn't really good enough to where he doesn't have to put up a ton of points every game. He was playing a bad Tampa team. Winston outplayed him yesterday, and Winston didn't play well. He made some better throws down the field, whereas Cam was Cam, and he was inconsistent again, and they played bad. Tampa's kicker did just as good as Carolina's kicker, and they ended up winning by 6 points. Tampa ended up winning by 6 points. It was a rough game to watch. Wasn't all that entertaining. Lots of sacks. If you're a defensive guy, you probably enjoyed that because there was lots of sacks. But yeah, I mean, overall, not a great game, and they're both very inconsistent. I wouldn't be surprised if Jameis Winston gets moved out sooner than later. Gets moved around the league as a backup, and they just end up getting rid of him out of Tampa. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa tries to move up in the draft to try and get a quarterback soon. And Carolina, I wouldn't be surprised if you heard something shocking like at the end of the year or halfway through the year if he gets injured, that he's done. Like he's a handsome man. He's a very he's a charismatic man when he wants to be, and he could have a good career doing something else in fashion or whatever he wants to do. And he's made a lot of money in football, so he has other options. And that's with a lot of football players now, and that's why they're retiring early. So I wouldn't be surprised if he called it quits sometime sooner or later.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. He definitely takes a beating. Last night's game was, the end was a little bit exciting, but it was barely watchable. I mean, neither of these two teams does anything for me on a national spotlight. This was one of those games too where you're just like, okay, this is the Thursday night football matchup. Yeah, I'll watch a completely meaningless Yankee game in September. Thank you. Although the Yankees had basically finished their game.
Yeah.
By the time this one started,
yeah.
So I actually had this game on in the background last night as I was basically playing on my phone. Tough to watch. There's nothing to take from this game. It's certainly from a long-term perspective on the season and where either of these teams are going. They're both mediocre teams at best.
How far are we into both of their careers, and they're both still the same quarterback? They're inconsistent.
Yeah. So my biggest takeaway as a Dolphin fan is that the big concern I have here is even though the Bucs won this game, they concern me as a contender for Tua.
Yeah, so, I think Jameis Winston because he's inconsistent, he'll end up getting you 4 or 5 wins.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, right. I mean, and again, I'm still predicting the Dolphins to go 0-16, so there really shouldn't be anything that interferes with that anyway.
I don't know. The Jets might give you a running now.
Oh well, because
mono.
Oh my God.
Lev Bell doesn't he have MRI coming up too? Like he might. I wouldn't be surprised if they are actually trying to lose to get good in the draft, because I think that with this whole mono thing, and then Lev Bell's like, nope, I'm not going to sit there and take a beating.
I will tell you that, and I don't like Adam Gase, but I will tell you that his press conference actually kind of happened a little yesterday, because his reaction to that
so down in the dumps.
I mean, but he was so just like, but you could tell though his whole thing on it was like, our starting quarterback will not be playing.
They called him 14.
14, right? 14 will not be on the field. And he's just looking down like the whole time, because he has been diagnosed with mono. And he's like, so there's that. It was just great. I wish you had the audio of that. It was funny. It really was funny because he just like, you could tell he was just like, who gets mono? What are you, 14? Are you actually 14? Or is your number 14? Maybe that's actually why he said 14.
Yeah.
If he did that subliminally, he's even more clever than I thought. But I mean, seriously, the kissing disease? How? How do you get mono? And man, it's gonna knock you out for like multiple weeks. Oh my God. And the cover of, I don't know if it was the Daily News or the New York Post this morning, had their headline said, because the Jets are referred to as gangrene. Mm-hmm. It said gang spleen.
So,
yeah,
that's all right. But you also have Lev Bell, who's got a shoulder issue. And he might not play this week. I mean, that is a team, if they are going, like, because they said, Darnold they aren't even letting him in the locker room. So he might not be there for a month to 6 weeks. We'll see when Lev Bell comes back, when he comes back. I mean, because he lets injuries linger for a while because he doesn't want to take a pounding. I mean, he knows they're just going to stuff the box now if there's going to have a backup quarterback in there.
Right.
Why would I want to put myself in danger there?
I mean, like, you laugh at something like mono, right? But it's highly contagious and you can't be around anybody. So, he's like quarantined.
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, that's as bad as Dolphin fans have it, and let's be honest, we have it bad. Yeah. The Jets are also sort of a tragedy and a comedy unto themselves. So can't say I feel bad for them. I don't have any remorse. I have no remorse for anybody right now because of what the Dolphins are going through. Oh, by the way, speaking of Dolphins, breaking as of 6 or 7 hours ago, Minkah Fitzpatrick, their former number 1 draft pick of a couple years back, has now requested a trade.
Of course he did.
Because he doesn't want to be around for this. And look, it's tough. As a fan, I am fully on board with the tanking. I fully support the strategy because I think it's really the
But you
only
need
way to
some players.
I think it's, but here's the thing. The Dolphins have said, though, they've made it very clear as far as compensation, they want a number 1 pick in return for him, which they will not get.
No.
They won't get. It would be worth it for a team getting him only because his contract is just so friendly because he's on a rookie contract and it's really very inexpensive. But the Dolphins also would need the number 1 pick because there would be a lot of dead cap here. There's a lot of negative equity if they trade him. So you get a lot more dead money against their salary cap, which they already lead the league in this year, which, as time goes by, a lot of that stuff drops off and they're going to have $120 million in cap space next year. But you really don't, you don't want that. It's negative equity. I mean, it's like if you buy a car and then trade it in the next year, you have negative equity on the car because it's the value of it. What you're trying to get for it is nowhere near what you bought it for. It's just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All I'm hearing now is with all this negative Miami Dolphins talk and Jets talk, it's just one thing for the Bills. You know what it is for the Bills? In that division? Moving up in that division, baby. Getting up to we're gonna be in second place, fighting for a playoff spot.
Right, that puts you in the spot for a wild card. Yeah, absolutely.
That's right, baby. Woo! Clint's got to be excited about that too.
Not to bring this down a little. Unfortunately, some very sad breaking news that Eddie Money has passed away.
Oh man!
Stage 4 esophageal cancer. He had a few big hits there. I know. Let's see. Baby, hold on.
The best one.
Take me home tonight. Take me home tonight, and 2 tickets to paradise.
Yeah.
Very sad. Only 70 years old. Hey, wow! Look at that. Look at you having that queued up.
I'm good.
Baby, hold on to me.
And we also got this. You ready?
Whoa!
This is great. This is a great song.
Yeah.
You really got to belt that out too. When you're in the car, you know you belt it out. Take me home tonight.
Good song. Got a few iconic songs.
Yes, he does. All right. So yeah, that is very sad. All right. So
Stage 4 esophageal cancer.
It's not good. Cancer sucks. All right. So let's on that note, we will end this part of the show. We will come back in a few seconds with part 2, and that is all our picks for the NFL Week 2. We have 3 games for you. I'm sure we'll get into a little bit more, but we got 3 games for you, our game of the week, and then we're going to be talking about Monday on Monday. We'll talk Monday Night Football on Monday. Yep. Stay tuned to the end of the second segment where I will read to you the greatest tweet of all. Okay. I think you know what it is. I do. I'm pretty certain I know what it is. Yes. All right. So we will be back in about, 30 seconds or so. All right. See you in 30 seconds. Peace.